For 45 years, Jack Sullivan never missed a single day of work. Rain, snow, or freezing winds, it didn't matter. Every morning before sunrise, he put on his blue postal uniform, climbed into his old mail truck, and delivered letters across a quiet town in Montana. To most people, he was simply the old mailman. But to Jack, every letter carried a piece of someone's life. Some brought joy, some carried heartbreaking news, some changed lives forever. After his wife passed away from cancer 10 years earlier, Jack lived alone in a small wooden cabin on the edge of town. He had no children, no close relatives. Every evening he sat on his porch with a cup of coffee, watching the sun disappear behind the mountains. He believed his life would end quietly, just as it had been lived. But one cold winter morning, everything changed. While cleaning the old storage room at the post office before his retirement, Jack noticed something hidden behind a rusty metal cabinet. It was an old yellow envelope covered in dust. The stamp was still attached. The envelope had never been postmarked. It had never left the building. Jack carefully wiped away the dust and looked at the names. The sender, Sarah Carter. The recipient, Michael Carter. He looked at the date in the corner. 20 years ago, Jack stood frozen. In his entire career, he had never knowingly lost a single letter. Somehow, this one had been forgotten. He held the envelope in silence before whispering, "Even after 20 years, this letter still deserves to reach its destination." The next morning, Jack drove his old mail truck to the address written on the envelope. The house was still there. A small two-story home at the end of a quiet street, with snow covering the roof and front yard. Jack climbed the steps slowly and knocked on the door. A few moments later, a man in his early 30s opened it. "Michael Carter?" Jack asked. The man nodded. Jack looked down at the faded envelope in his hands. "I'm afraid this letter is 20 years late," he said quietly. Michael gave a confused smile. Then he saw the handwriting. His expression changed instantly. He took the envelope with trembling hands. "I know this writing," he whispered. "It belonged to my mother." Michael invited Jack inside. For several seconds, he simply stared at the envelope. His mother, Sarah Carter, had died from a heart condition when Michael was only 12 years old. She had been taken to the hospital one winter evening and never returned home. Michael had spent years believing she left without saying goodbye. Slowly, he opened the envelope. Inside were several pages, yellowed with age. At the top of the first page were the words, "My dearest Michael." His hands began to shake. Jack remained silent near the doorway. Then Michael started to read. "If you are holding this letter, I may no longer be there beside you. Please don't be angry with life. And don't let sadness turn your heart cold." Michael's vision blurred as tears rolled down his face. He continued reading. "I know I won't be able to watch you grow up, but I hope you'll grow into a kind and honest man. Life won't always be fair. Some days you'll feel completely alone, but never let pain take away your kindness. The world needs good people far more than successful ones." Michael could barely breathe. Every word felt like his mother was speaking directly to him. For 20 years, he had believed those final words were lost forever. But now, she was finally saying goodbye. Jack quietly turned toward the window, giving Michael the privacy he needed. Several minutes passed in complete silence. Finally, Michael folded the letter carefully and held it against his chest. He walked over to Jack, with tears still in his eyes. Then, without saying a word, he hugged the old mailman. "You didn't deliver a letter today," Michael whispered. "You brought my mother back to me." Jack closed his eyes. It was the first time anyone had ever thanked him like that. At that moment, every mile he had driven, every winter he had worked through, every sacrifice suddenly felt worthwhile. A few weeks later, Jack officially retired. On his final day, he quietly placed his old mailbag on the desk. 45 years had come to an end. As he walked out of the post office, no ceremony was waiting, no reporters, no applause. Just a quiet winter afternoon. Jack smiled to himself. He had never worked for recognition. He simply believed that every letter deserved to find its way home. He climbed into his old pickup truck and drove back to his small wooden cabin. For the first time in decades, there would be no mail to deliver the next morning. 2 months later, on Jack's 72nd birthday, someone knocked on his front door. When he opened it, he was completely speechless. Standing outside was Michael. Beside him were his wife and 2 little daughters holding a beautifully wrapped wooden box. "Happy birthday, Jack," Michael said with a warm smile. The little girl stepped forward. "This is for you." Jack slowly opened the box. Inside were hundreds of handwritten letters. Every single one was addressed to him. Jack picked up the first envelope with trembling hands. He slowly opened it. Inside was a simple handwritten note. "Dear Mr. Sullivan, thank you for delivering the letter that told me my father was finally coming home from overseas. That day changed my childhood forever." Jack reached for another. "Thank you for bringing my college acceptance letter. You delivered the happiest day of my life." Another letter read, "When my husband was deployed, your smile reminded me to stay strong. You never knew how much that meant." One after another, Jack read every letter. Before he realized it, tears were quietly running down his face. Michael smiled. "You spent your entire life delivering hope to other people. Today, we wanted to deliver something back to you." Jack looked around the room. For the first time in many years, he no longer felt alone. He finally understood something. A life isn't measured by money or by fame. It's measured by the lives we quietly touch along the way. Some letters arrive late, some dreams take years to come true, but true kindness is never wasted, because sooner or later, it always finds its way home.